Like, with the right policy and the right leadership, things can change very, very quickly. People experienced that with Donald Trump, and then the flip side of it with Joe Biden, which is exactly why they're pointing the finger in the chest of Democrats that enabled that activity.
We've talked throughout the morning about how unpopular many of the actual ideas that would be put forward by Democrats, whether or not that's gender issues, shutting down coal plants, open borders, like put on a blank ballot for most of the American people to say, how do you feel about these policies? They would garner minimal support. So in turn, what Democrats have focused on is the threat to democracy. One of those threats is voter suppression. That's been forwarded by, for example, Stacey Abrams in Georgia for quite some time.
Election denier Stacey Abrams.
Election denier Stacey Abrams. By the way, here's early voting turnout in Georgia. 2.2 million, which I believe is a record in Georgia. Certainly exceeds previous turnouts.
2.2 million suppressed voters.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, I hate early voting. I really wish we just voted on election
I agree with
day.
you.
I really wish we had a holiday for that.
But this is to be clear now, that turnout is in the face of supposed threat to democracy, voter suppression.
Correct.
So then, of course, one would say, well, how does Stacey Abrams respond to that? This is how.
Let's be clear, the false narrative that voter turnout dispels the idea of voter suppression misunderstands the effectiveness of suppression. Suppression has never been about stopping all voters. It's about clogging the arteries of the process and stopping certain voters. While the polls are always going to tell the story you want to see, what we know is that the untold story is that this is a tight race. It is neck and neck. And we believe that we are on a path to victory if we can get all our voters turned out and if they can navigate the difficulties put in place by Brian Kemp and Brad Ratzenberger.
Well, here to help us translate what that means is Fox News anchor and our friend Shannon Bream. Shannon, welcome.
Good to see you guys.
Great
Good to see you too.
I know you got a lot of big stuff coming up. You're going to be a busy woman.
We do, like all of us.
But you especially.
Yeah.
We'll be watching you.
Okay.
What do you make of the case Stacey Abrams?
Well, okay, because I knew we were going to discuss this. We had her on Fox News Sunday a few weeks ago, and this had just happened, this ruling by a President Obama-appointed judge of all of her 4-year legal battle about these claims about what's going on in Georgia. He said that Fair Fight Action did not provide direct evidence of a voter who was unable to vote, experienced longer wait times, or was confused about voter registration status. So that's what the judge said. We spent 4 years looking at this. We didn't find any of it.
Fair Fight Action is her group.
That's her group, yeah. So if she wants to take it up with that judge, he said no constitutional violations. There was nothing that he found, that nobody could actually say, I tried to go vote, I tried to register, and I couldn't make it happen because of Georgia's law.
And increased early voting turnout.
It's astronomical.
It seems almost conspiratorial.
I don't know about that, but I do know that a good friend of mine who is a giant college football fan, as am I, go Flames, nice win over Arkansas yesterday. She wore orange in this video on the day that the Dogs were playing Tennessee. So my friend's biggest upset was about the choice of outfit for her to make these comments on game day.
Is there any backlash that's Is there any backlash for her saying these things? And I mean, they're just so demonstrably false, like her saying that she's,
It'll be flagged as misinformation, I'm sure.
Right.
Well, I mean, again, she can go against this judge who is clearly not a Trump appointee, somebody that looked at this for 4 years. So it's the public that's going to make the decision. And I think that many of them have looked at this and said, she's going to lose by a wider margin this time than she did last time around with Governor Kemp. Probably that's them making their judgment.
And there were some prominent Democrats in Georgia who are now coming out publicly and saying, we're going to vote for Kemp, and they endorsed him.
So you're saying Stacey Abrams wore orange in an ad that ran during the Georgia-Tennessee
interview,
game?
Right. And there were, like I said, my college football fan friends were more upset about that than anything she had to
maybe
say.
She just
it really is.
It is a big deal. So maybe she is just a bad candidate, and the voters don't want to elect
Well, there's
her.
some people who think that her campaign itself has not been stellar, and she has some problems, like all candidates do, but she's clearly not connecting there in Georgia.
Herschel Walker is featured in the pregame videos if you watch the game on
Star for Georgia Bulldogs.
Star for the Georgia Bulldogs. He's in the promos because, of course, you can't think Georgia football without Herschel Walker, and she's wearing orange.
Yeah.
So, Shannon, if we could, let's stay on Stacey Abrams and gubernatorial races and looking forward to what may happen on Tuesday. You look at Stacey Abrams, and she could lose yet again. You look at Beto O'Rourke in Texas, and it looks like he will definitely lose again. Can continuous losers continue to be the stars of the Democratic Party?
I don't know if you read the piece in The Atlantic that talked about this, but they're calling them superstar losers, people who that they are out there. They, in some ways, electrify some of the party and get people out, and they get a lot of star power and that kind of thing. But when it comes to closing the deal with voters at the ballot box, that's not their strength. So they continue to be stars. I mean, you could go back and tick through all of the campaigns that Beto's had. Now, he did serve as a congressman at one point, but he's lost just about everything he's run for since then.
He seems to be just really, he and her seem to just be really popular with the elite donor base. And then when it gets to the ballot box, they don't make it. We think about what a bad candidate is. I can never forget the picture of Stacey Abrams sitting, you know, crisscross on the floor of a classroom, unmasked, with all these beautiful children with their smiles all masked. And again, pointing just to what a bad political candidate she is, just not really. And this was at a point where parents were already saying, enough with the masks. It's just out of touch.
She definitely drives a certain part of her party, but can you reach beyond that to the independent and the swing voters? That's where it's a little bit more difficult because she is so progressive on some
Any
issues.
predictions for election night? What should we be looking for?
My stomach hurts thinking about it. But you guys, you love this, though, right? We're collecting all of the data. We know we're going to have to wait on Pennsylvania. The Secretary of State already there has been warning us it's going to take days. So I think if we knew that night that there was a blowout one way or the other for one of those candidates, I think it would give us a picture about the rest of the country.
Interesting.
But New Hampshire is going to be early, too. And if by any stretch the Republicans pull that off, I think that would signal good news for them that night.
Do you think Pennsylvania will be the only one we have to wait on?
Well, Georgia possibly
could face a runoff, right? If one candidate doesn't hit 50.
Then that takes us to December 6th for their runoff. So it could be weeks before we know who's controlling the Senate.
Interesting. I know it's not weeks till we find out who's on your show.
That's right. So speaking of governor's races, we have Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt. He's a Republican. This is the deepest of red states. Why is he in such a tough battle there? And also Congressman Jim Clyburn, one of the top House Democrats, fresh off his comments likening what's happening now to the rise of Hitler in the 1930s. Going to ask him to explain that. It's not the first time he's evoked that imagery.
That will be an interesting interview.
It is.
I would love to hear that answer. I would love to have threat to democracy.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. Yeah. You can watch it on Fox News.
We will.
Coming up. This is like the best teaser ever.
We'll see you then.
2 p.m. Eastern.
Continue enjoying this show, and then later on enjoy our show.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, the whole day we're gonna have you. We're gonna have, I think, the 5 outnumbered. There's just so much election specials going.
People are gonna be sick of us by Wednesday.
Not us.
We're
Not
never,
me. Not
we're
sick of
never
me.
sick of Shannon Bream.
Nope. Thank you, Shannon.
Good to see you guys.
Shannon.
Appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.